Hey, what's up guys and welcome back, and I can see that most of you do not like the Pearl release, Bloodline that I release. So I'm not gonna waste yours or my time. So I'm just gonna be giving you something a lot better than that, guys. So it's getting replaced. So this is not starting something new without ending something. So yeah, here it is. What if Naruto was Ano's Voldigoad? Reincarnation, guys. Yeah, so sit back, relax, and I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. If you're new, I have 4 more channels. Anime King 2, Anime King 3, Anime Prince, and Anime Symbol, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. So without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Begin now, guys. The moment that he was born into this world, his overwhelming power sent out a signal that spread throughout the universe. So the moment that he took his first breath, he had enemies that fear the power that he possessed and would stop at nothing to try and eliminate him. At the moment, Kushina Uzumaki had tears in her eyes. Minato had rescued her from the masked man after he was able to extract the 9 tails from her. She was currently resting inside of the bed. Her 2 beautiful babies were lying there. Her beautiful baby girl. She had red hair just like her mom. Her boy had blonde hair like his father. However, at the end of each of his blonde spikes, his hair was dark, which was a bit unusual, but it fit his little round face rather well. However, she knew that she was not long for this world. The 9 tails had been sucked out of her. That meant she would not get to see them grow up. She would not get to see them attend the academy, say their first words. She would not get to see their first steps. And that brought nothing but sadness and tears as she held on to the both of them in her weakened state. As for the boy, it was like a bell went off, and suddenly, he had sentience. He could understand what was going on. He could hear perfectly, understand her words. Kushina was too busy tearing up and holding them to notice that the boy brought his 2 hands up and he was looking at them. His baby sister seemed to have no clue what was going on because she was normal, unlike him. His gaze fixated on the red-headed woman. He could feel the love that was coming from her. No doubt, she was his mother. His blue eyes, which were like his father, glow green as he was able to see everything that was wrong with her, and he could see her life force diminishing. However, there was something that he could do to prevent that. He held his hand out as he said one word, completely perfect, no stuttering. It was like a old adult was speaking. Eto, he said. Kushina blinked as she heard the voice. She jumped out of the bed, ready to prepare to get in battle to protect her 2 babies, despite the weakness and the fatigue that she was feeling at the moment. Kushina looked around, her arms raised, ready to fight. She then realized something. What the hell? She looked at her hands. She felt strong. Given how drained she felt from giving birth and having the 9 tails ripped out of her, how was she standing? And who said that? Meanwhile, over to the boy. His mom was more damaged than he thought. And it seems like he was a bit much than he was supposed to. Because he felt like he wanted to sleep. His body was too immature. All of his power had not fully recovered just yet. As he closed his eyes, the next moment he opened them, he found himself. He was lying in a field. He was in a small basket. He was on an altar. He could hear the crying coming from his mother. Yes, she was crying. What was going on? He felt a chilling sensation. Suddenly, a being floating overhead. Minato was not aware of anything going on. The Shinigami turned its gaze, and their eyes met, the both of them looking right at one another. The Shinigami could see beyond the facade that this was an ordinary child, because it was clearly not. The child looking around, he could not see most things, because he was confined to this crib. As he muttered one word, "Furs," he said, he started to levitate out of the bassinet that he was in. Kushina snapped her gaze up. "Naruto," she shouted, despite knowing that he would not respond, but in her fear-induced state, her chains were holding the massive nine tails down. She had no idea why she felt so refreshed, but she felt like she could make it through it. However, Minato was going to sacrifice his life. All Naruto needed was a few seconds to understand what was going on. He looked down as a sister that was in her bassinet started to cry. Half of the nine tails was sealed inside of her. Minato snapped his gaze up towards Naruto, confused why the child was floating in the air. The Shinigami had reached its hand through Minato as it started to pull on his soul. Naruto focused on the hand of the Shinigami. Suddenly, his eyes changed. As he awakened, the demon eyes of ruin. His overall eye was still blue, but there was a red, strange symbol inside of his eye. Minato, who could see the Shinigami because of his seal, watched as the Shinigami arm was blown clean off. The thing quickly pulled back. Its arm regrew. Within a second, however, it released Minato's soul doing that. The Shinigami turned its wrath upon Naruto. Its gaze, looking towards him as Minato saw what was going on. He had no idea how it was possible. He flashed in front of his son as he held up his hand. "Take me," he said. "Leave him alone." Naruto floated over his father's head as he focused his demonic eyes on the Shinigami itself. The Shinigami was looking at Naruto for a long second before a look of strange understanding appeared in its eyes. It seemed to know something that would follow. That is why it did not retaliate. Instead, it backed off. Yes, it did. It backed off. Minato watched in shock as the Shinigami vanished away back to its plane of existence, leaving them with a much smaller fox. Kushina had tied her chains, tied her around the beast so it could not escape. She was fully healthy, so the beast had no chance to escape. Naruto turned his eye towards the massive fox. "Voldigoad," he said. Minato and Kushina blinked in shock as they heard their baby boy spoke perfectly. Suddenly, a gigantic castle appeared out of nowhere. The door of the castle swung wide open. Massive chains rushed out of the darkness and gripped onto the fox's limbs. Kushina blinked as she looked towards her son. She saw the look in his eyes, the look of understanding, but she didn't know how. Kushina released the chains that she had on the fox. The chains from the castle grabbed said fox and pulled him inside. He gripped his hand into the ground, trying not to be dragged away, but there was nothing that he can do. The doors of the castle sealed shut with a loud thud. As the fox was gone, the castle shimmered away like it was never there to begin with. Suddenly, the aura that surrounded Naruto vanished as his eyes closed as he fell. Minato jumped up as he caught him, holding the baby boy securely in his arm. Both parents were completely and utterly confused. They had absolutely no idea in hell what they just witnessed. With the barrier broken, Hiruzen Sarutobi flashed on the scene as he was moving at great speed. He looked around. What happened? Are you two okay? Yes, we're fine, Kushina said, now holding her daughter, as Minato was holding their son. What just happened? He said. The both of them looked at him before they glanced back down towards Naruto. We don't know. The both of them said, utterly confused. Time skip. A few hours had went by. Mito was asleep. Naruto has been sleeping ever since. The both of them had him quickly checked upon to make sure that he was alright. The doctors confirmed that he was just sleeping, as they could not fathom or wrap their mind around what had taken place. But that's impossible, Hiruzen Sarutobi said, as he stood with the new parents. That couldn't be possible, right? Hiruzen was not that convinced. Maybe there's the stress of everything had take a toll on them. I saw it. Unlike Kushina, because I was in the middle of the ceiling, I was able to see the Shinigami. I saw the look that he gave Naruto. Something is going on, said Minato, as he was not truly sure what had happened, but he was sure for one thing. Their son was not normal. Mito was now a Jinchuriki, and there was no if or but about that. And Minato did perform the sealing, so why was he still here? Matter of fact, why was Kushina still here? The Ninetales was taking note of her, and yet she was 100% healthy. She said that she heard something. Maybe it was Naruto that spoke. He's awake, Kushina said. The three adults gathered over the small crib that he was lying in, as they looked down towards him. Yet he seemed to be just a normal baby boy. Kushina reached forward as she tapped him on the cheek and on the forehead, looking for any odd reactions, but there was none. She picked him up and examined him, Minato standing there with a keen eye on his boy. Kushina blinked. Maybe Hiruzen is right, she said. Maybe it was a hallucination? She was confused, because now he was not doing anything. She placed him back down. She looked away as Minato sighed to what she was doing, as one of her eyes was keenly set on him to see if he would do anything behind her back. She then turned back around quickly, but he was just lying there. Maybe I was wrong, said Minato. But that still doesn't explain why I'm still here. That's simple. Because I saved you. Everyone froze in the room. Kushina slowly turned as Naruto was hovering once again, looking at the three adults. Did you just talk? Kushina said, waiting for a response. Yes, I did, mother. Kushina screamed rather loudly. Time skip. A month later, Naruto could feel something touching him on the face as he lay in his bed. His eyes slowly opened. His mom was right there, looking down at him. She kept on poking his face. Is everything alright, mother? Said Naruto. Kushina looked up at him to see that he was awake. I still can't believe it. Every night I go to sleep wondering if I'm dreaming. If I have been dreaming this entire time. But every time I wake up and check on you, you're here. Like this. Well, it's no dream. I would have been able to tell. Naruto got out of bed, which was crazy because only a month has passed, and yet he looked like a standard 5-year-old. Same height for a 5-year-old. However, his mental maturity was on a different level entirely. 1 month and he was approximately the size of a 5-year-old. That made absolutely no sense. Mito was normal, a normal little girl, however. Naruto was not. As he tried to get off the bed, he found himself being lifted up by his mother. Mother? What exactly are you doing? You were supposed to stay a baby, said Kushina. I hate the fact that that time was taken away from me. But I can walk on my own now, said Naruto. It doesn't matter, she said, making him rest towards where her hip was as she held him. Naruto sighed, but he allowed her to do as she pleased. As they came downstairs, Minato was playing with baby Mito as he was wagging his hand in front of her face. He looked towards the mother and child as he sighed, seeing the look on Naruto's face, asking for some help here. Kushina, don't you think she sent her glare towards him as Minato paled away? Sorry, he said, muttering it to Naruto as she placed him down in a chair. Now that's better, she said, with a smile on her face as Naruto sighed once more. Before giving birth, the doctor had informed Kushina that one of the babies had an abnormality. It was a boy. Kushina had been concerned. They believed that once he was born, they would have to put him in surgery. However, he was born completely healthy. There was nothing wrong with him. She believed that the doctor had misdiagnosed her. However, Naruto's true name was Voldigoad. He was not supposed to be born in this world. He had no idea why was he here. This was a new world, completely different from his. At first he thought that this was his world, but it was not. It turns out that the baby that Kushina was going to have, well, he wasn't going to make it. Kushina had prayed and begged countless nights to any gods out there that might be listening, and Anos merged with that baby, breathing life back into it. So yes, he was Anos Voldigoad, but he was also Naruto Namikaze. It was very confusing, but he were their son, and the both of them loved him. Despite this abnormal growth rate, at first they were worried that he was gonna grow too fast and die, but that was not the case. It turns out that using such powerful magic right as he was awoken, it slowed down his aging process. He was supposed to age very fast in a month, growing up to a standard size where he would be at least 15 or 16, but that wasn't the case. He stopped at this age. From now on, he would be growing normally. His power had not fully cemented when he was brought into this world, so yes, using so much of it to blast away the hands of the Shinigami and trap the Nine Tails away. Yes, that did a lot. Half of the Nine Tails was sealed away in his demonic castle, something that he could summon, but for now, it should stay as it is. The beast would not be bothered and it would not bother anyone. It was really hard explaining to people about this. However, given the recent tragedy that had taken place, many had not focused that much. But the ones that knew her rather well were confused. Kushina had told Mikoto. Mikoto was her best friend, so of course, she told her. The woman was really shocked and surprised to hear about that. People were asking questions though, as Naruto had been introduced as the son of Minato, and given his age, well, that was not normal. Minato was going to inform the council about his very special son. They were going to have to find a way to quell all the whispers and rumors that were taking place, as many people started to believe that the man had a secret bastard child, having a child with someone that he did not marry. So he was going to have to fix that. As Kushina came over, as she placed down their breakfast in front of them, the both of them thanking her. It has been a lot lately, but Minato had spent time with his family, And the fact that his son grew so fast, he was able to talk to him on a more, well, reasonable level. And not as a baby, so that was a good thing. Mito was perfectly healthy though. At least Kushina could baby her as much as she could. But she did the same for Naruto as well, despite his growing age. People were trying to get things back to normal. They were trying to calm things back down. No one knew that the Nine Tails was sealed inside of Mito. Half of it at least. Minato had kept that a secret away from the populace. So for now everyone could rest easy, not knowing anything that was going on. So yes, all they knew was the Namikaze family has grown with 2 additional family members, and that was all that they need to know for the moment, as Minato was working on getting things back to normal and making sure that no other problem arise. Yes, he was going to make sure that was not the case. However, the beast's eyes were on full display, and majority of the people saw that it was shaped like the Sharingan. Minato had fought a man who was claiming to be Madara Uchiha. Well, Minato had claimed that he was, but the man did not deny it. Minato could not even teleport to him. Somehow the man was able to remove his seal. Knowing that he was not dead, he was somehow able to remove it. This man was truly a dangerous foe. Minato could see his dark intentions by just looking at him. There was no doubt about that. But he would make sure that his family is safe, and that his village is safe, no matter what happens. Time skip. Kushina brought Naruto and Mito to the park. The park was unscathed by all the chaos that had taken place. As she walked, she could see many ninjas. She felt guilty. It was her responsibility to keep the Nine Tails at bay. It wasn't your fault. It was the man that kidnapped you and took it out of you. Kushina blinked as she looked down. She was holding Naruto's hand. How did you... You know that you wear your emotions on your face, right, mother? He said to her. I do? Yes. So by seeing your gaze on the destruction and that look on your face, I know what you're thinking. Kushina released a breath. You're my smart little baby boy, she said. However, part of it is my fault, she said to him. It's not. You did not seek for this destruction. You did not want this destruction. Whoever that person is, he was the one that saw this and wanted it to be destroyed, not you. So do not blame yourself for someone else's actions. You're probably right, she said. I am, said Naruto. Who is that, he said, glancing up ahead. I told you that Mikoto was coming. However, you would never met her oldest before. That's her oldest daughter. Her name is Izumi Uchiha. I think the two of you are going to be really good friends. Naruto walked over as he smiled. Mikoto Uchiha, it's lovely to see you again. She smiled back at him. It's nice to see you again, Naruto, she said. I still can't quite understand everything that you have been through already, she said. As she looked at him, she was still amazed. Well, if you will excuse me, he said to her. My mother believed that your daughter and I could be great friends. Maybe. This is a start of a wonderful friendship. Mikoto smiled. I think so too. As Kushina sat down beside her on the bench, as she was holding baby Sasuke. Naruto walked over as he stopped, right in front of Izumi. Izumi Uchiha, correct? Izumi looked at him. You're that boy. The special one. I heard that you're supposed to be a baby. Yes, that is true. But being an infant limits my mobility very much. I injure myself at my birth otherwise. I would be much older than this. She was just staring at him. Is something wrong? He said. No, it's just... Most kids our age do not have the mental capacity to speak with me. Yet, you do it so naturally. Well, I might look young, but trust me, I am far mentally older, he said. So, Shall we get to know one another? Our parents believed that we could be good friends. Yes, my mother believed that as well. Well then, let's get going, she said. Lead the way, he said to her. As the both of them made their way off, both mothers sitting there and watching. The both of them had the absolute same idea on their mind right now. It was also a good thing that Naruto had aged so fast at this age. Mikato and Kushina were best friends through and through. Having their family attached through their children would be a very good thing. As the both of them walk and talk, she noticed his gaze was looking over her shoulder and behind her. She turned and she saw. It was the girls, several of them their age, and some of them a year or two older. They were all staring at him. She looked at him, and she too wondered why, as they sat down on a bench. You seem to be quite popular, she said. Well, given the fact that I am the son of the leader of this village, and most have seen my face, I am not surprised. And my mother does say that I have quite the handsome features. Don't you think, he said, looking towards her. She scrutinized his face as she looked at him. You look pretty normal to me, she said. Well, everyone does have their own opinion. Let's see what they think. He motioned for the other girls to come over. When they saw that he was calling them, many of them squealed. As they slowly made their way, a lot of them stood right in front of him. Hello, ladies, he said, with a smile on his face, making them blush. Wouldn't you all say that? I have quite the handsome features, he said, looking at them. They were not sure how to respond, as they had been stalking him for some time now, since he entered the park, and to hear him say that, they were overwhelmed. However, Izumi noticed something. A large boy was walking over, looking rather upset. He seemed to be a year older than them. As he parted the girls. May I help you? Said Naruto. Yeah. Who do you think you are? He said, looking down towards Naruto. Some kind of special guy or something? You seem irritated. Perhaps it's because I called away your female companions. It's that. What is bothering you? Hey, you know-it-all, he said. Don't act like you're better than me. Just because you're the son of the Hokage. Yeah, I know who you are, he said. And I bet you're not even anything special. Just because you're related to the Hokage, that doesn't make you strong. Stop it. Many of the girls started to shout at him. Izumi simply relaxed. She wanted to see if he was also strong as well. As she sat there, the bully reached forward as he grabbed Naruto by his shirt. As he lifted him off the bench, he was rather larger than Naruto, given Naruto's small frame. I must warn you, said Naruto. If you try to punch me, you will hurt your hand. The bully threw his fist forward, the girls screaming at him. But before his fist could make contact with Naruto's face, it impacted on a barrier, caused him to pull his hand back in pain. He swung his other hand and punched the barrier once again. Izumi raised an eyebrow at that. So did the other girls. He swung his leg as he screamed out when he hit the barrier once again. He fell over in pain. The girls told him to go away. He got up sniffling as he ran. The girls cheering Naruto on for defeating him. The bully hid behind a tree. As he was fuming, tears from his eyes. He was upset. Are you alright? He blinked as he looked up. Naruto was standing right in front of him. He glanced behind him over the tree. And Naruto was also standing there. Never you mind that. I did warn you. And now you're in pain. However, you are just a simple child. Naruto held his hand out. Eto, he said. Immediately all the pain went away. What did you do? I healed you. You do not have to be this vulgar or angry. Just because it's hard to fit in. Just give it time. And try not to show this personality. Be a bit more friendlier, and I'm sure that you will make a lot of friends. Why are you helping me? I tried to punch you. Well, I can tell that you're not a bad kid. You're just misunderstood. As Naruto pat him on the head before, he walked behind the tree. Hey, wait! The bully blinked as he was gone. He glanced over towards the original Naruto, who winked at him. He sat back down behind the tree, rethinking everything that just happened. And what he did. By the end of the day, Naruto was able to learn a lot about Izumi. And yes, given her personality and her way of talking, which most of the other children his age could not, he liked her. She was a good friend. It was good to have friends after all. At the end of the day, they parted ways as friends. So, what do you think? Mikoto asks, as she was walking with her daughter. As Mikoto looked towards Izumi that was holding her younger brother, Sasuke, I have no complaints. So the both of you are friends now? Well, you can say that, said Izumi as they walk off. As Naruto and Kushina were making their way home, the bully from earlier came. Hey, I want to apologize for attacking you, he said. And you were right. I tried what you said. And, well, I was able to talk to people much better. So, sorry, okay? Oh, it's no problem. You are forgiven, said Naruto. Well, thanks. And if anyone tried to mess with you, I'm here, he said. With that, he ran off. What was that, said Kushner. Well, it seems I've made more than one friend today. Quite a couple, if I would say so myself. As he glanced over, as Kushner saw several of the girls watching him, they had still not gone home yet, as their parents were coming to pick them up. Kushner simply smiled happily as Naruto held his baby sister as they made their way off. Time skip. Naruto stood in front of the class as he gazed at all the members. My name is Naruto Namikaze, he said, and I hope we can all be great friends and great future comrades. Several of the girls started to mention how cute he was. Several of the guys did not like that. Not in the slightest. Well, it was born from jealousy and the fact that he was the son of the leader of the village. Naruto was now going to the academy. This was his first day, to be quite exact. As Naruto glanced up towards the top row, a small smile came on his face as he made his way up and sat down right beside Izumi. Well, it seems like we're in the same class. Well, that's a good thing, he said, looking towards her. The guys in the class started to go even more crazier because Izumi was one of the most beautifulest girls in the class. She was also a legacy. She was the heir to the Uchiha clan, the first female heir. When she was born, many of the older members wanted to marry her off to someone, but Fukaku made it clear that that was not going to happen. He was not going to force his daughter into anything. At first, he believed that he would grow unattached to her, but the moment he looked into her eyes, he cried. Yes, the man cried. He loved his daughter. He loved her greatly. She loved her father as well. She was always by his side asking him to teach her jutsus and all sorts of things. Naruto had met Fukaku recently. The man was trying to intimidate Naruto, given the fact that his daughter was growing so close to Naruto, and he had to be the protective father, of course. However, his intimidation did not work, not even when he activated his Sharingan, as Naruto merely stood there calmly and greeted the man like it was absolutely nothing. Fukaku knew that he was special. However, most were not told the ingrained details, as they were able to quiet the populace by saying that their son was born with a rarer bloodline that allowed him to mature faster than any other. Yes, however, once he reached a certain age, he started to progress normally. A little white lie on their part, but it was better for everyone that they knew that. There was only a handful of people that knew the truth. A small handful. It did not take too long for the teacher to call them to go around the back of the school, where the field was. It was a tradition to see where they start, and then to test them at each of the semester ending year, to see how much they have grown. It was random as Naruto watched as Izumi made their way up there. She faced off against a Inuzaka. They were known for their ferocity and their canine-like fighting. However, she was able to take down the Inuzaka in just a couple of seconds. Her father taught her well. Impressive, said Naruto. You sound surprised. Did you expected anything less, Izumi said. Of course not. However, your timing was impeccable, he said to her. She stood there. She and Naruto has become great friends. At first, she thought that he was a bit weird, but she was not wrong, he was a bit weird. Sometimes he talked not even she could quite understand what he was saying. But he was her friend now, a really good friend of hers. His name was called as he made his way forward. She knew that he was not going to lose. He was facing off against another Uchiha, a rather cocky individual. He had spiky black hair, dark eyes, the standard Uchiha built. As he looked at Naruto, he didn't like how cozy Naruto was getting to Izumi, as he also liked her as well. He admired her for her strength, for how her whole personality was set, and he was not that close to her, and they were from the same clan. He didn't want any outsider coming and being with her, given the fact that they were just kids. His mind was already thinking about that. Naruto stood there, a small smile on his face. Huh, what's with a smile? Do you actually think that you're going to win? The boy said to Naruto. As a matter of fact, yes, I do. I am going to win this match, so don't bother getting yourself all riled up. It will be over before you know it. I would like to see you try. There's no way in hell that you're gonna beat me. Their sensei stepped forward. Alright, begin. Naruto stepped forward, and he appeared behind the boy. The sensei raised an eyebrow in shock. That was pure speed alone. I told you. And now go to sleep. Naruto chopped him in the back of the neck. Naruto reached out and caught him so that he would not hit the floor roughly, as he calmly set him down. There was actually 1,952 ways that he could have ended that battle. Much more faster, to be quite exact, but this was much less aggressive. The girls in the class exploded with cheers, clapping and celebrating at Naruto's victory, as he smiled at them, making them blush and swoon over him. But he did not pay that any mind. He was just reacting to the situation that was going on. He did not really mean anything by it. Time skip. A report was placed on Minato's desk about his son already, as Naruto's speed was quite advanced for the academy, but allowing him to understand the curriculum, they at least need 1 year to make sure that they were making the right choice to send him out on the field at a young age. Izumi was also someone to keep their eye on. The girl was a prodigy. There was no doubt about that. Time skip. Big brother! The small, little girl, now 2 years old, came rushing towards him as she stumbled and fell. Before she reached him, she hugged him as Naruto looked up to see his mother and Mikato as well. Naruto reached down as he picked up Mito. She immediately hugged him. She really loved her big brother. He was always there for her. We come to bring you home. Is that so? He said with a smile, as he started to walk with her, conversing with Izumi and his mother, and Mikato occasionally. There was also the young Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke wasn't a fan of Naruto that much. He believed that Naruto was going to take his big sister away. So yes, he was not that fond of Naruto. Time skip. But you just started the academy. And they already want you to graduate. Yes, father. Fukaku Uchiha was proud. Happily so as he looked down towards his daughter. With this wonderful news. Tell me, is there anyone else that is going to be graduating with you? Yes, Naruto, she said. I'm not surprised, said Fukaku. I can see great things for the both of you in the future. His daughter was a prodigy, there was no doubt about that. But Naruto was not far off as well. The child was unique and special. Fukaku was interested to see their growth. And yet, there was so much going on that he feared for the future of the clan and everything within the village. Yes, he truly feared for it. Meanwhile, that was going on. Despite his size and now his age, if you look at it from the outside, his mother was holding him up in the air, swinging him around in glee and joy, as she was so proud of him. Mito was dancing and playing along to his mother, vibes that she was having about the whole thing. He would be graduating just after 1 year. She knew her baby boy was so special, as Naruto simply sighed and allowed her to do what she pleased. Time skip. Naruto stood in front of the very ferocious beast. It growled at him, baring its fangs and its claws. It was ready to attack and lunge at him at any moment notice. It threw itself forward, with its claws and fangs extended. Stop. His words vibrated through the air, as a cat, froze in mid-air, his compelling words as he stepped forward and plucked the cat out of mid-air and rest his hand on the cat's head. It immediately went to sleep. 2 people landed down in front of him. One of them was none other than Izumi. The other one was Toji Akamoto. Toji was 2 years older than the both of them, as he believed himself superior because he was also special enough to graduate a bit earlier because he was 2 years older, so yes. However, he did not like the fact that they were much younger and already graduated. He was always saying that they were a bunch of kids and they should not slow him down. But deep down, he was a good person. He was just a bit full of himself and a bit arrogant as well. Nothing compared to Naruto arrogance though. What did you do? He said, looking at Naruto. I simply spoke, and it obeyed. Yeah, right, said Toji, as he took the cat away from Naruto. The moment he did that, the cat awoke him and scratched him on the face several times. He screamed out as the thing jumped away and ran off. Damn it! Get back here, you furball! Giggling could be heard as Naruto glanced over. It was from Izumi. She did not laugh that much, but when she did, you knew that what she saw was very hilarious. Well, it seems like our job continued, said Naruto. She released a breath before she leaped to the roof and ran off. She came back a few seconds later. The cat was all tied up. She dumped it right in Naruto's hands. Mission completed. Toji came running back. Hey, I had that handle. Are you sure? Izumi said, looking towards his sliced up face and the slice on his arms. He simply grumbled as he folded his arms. Their sensei, a man known as Kaido, appeared as he congratulated them on another mission well done. This was their 3rd mission now, as they've proven to be rather great as a team. Yes, there were the few bickerings between. Well, Toji mostly, and those bickerings were all him, as he had a problem with them most of the times, but the 2 of them did not pay him any mind at all. Time skip. Naruto was able to teleport. Thus, he was the best man for the job. Yes, he could teleport between the distance by forming an invisible bridge between them. They were currently on the mission to deliver a very, very pregnant mother. She was of royal class. Her husband and all of the guards were still there. However, she was going to give birth. Everything was set up back home. They were living in the fire capital. Yes, she was of royal family, but not the head family. And they couldn't do it here, as Naruto offered to just bring her there. No, that was a bit surprising because they did not know that he could teleport. He assured them that everything would be fine. The woman was rather shocked, almost forgetting about her whole birthing process. She was amazed that they were already here, as Naruto brought her inside. He was carrying her with complete ease. His strength was truly unimaginable after all. As the guards raised their weapons, thinking that it was an intruder, but he brought her inside. As he rested her down, the doctors and everyone was there. An hour and a half later, Naruto returned back. However, what he returned to was not what he left. The place was covered in mist. He could smell the blood. His sensei was resting against a tree, without his head. Naruto blinked in shock. Toji was on the ground, lifeless. He had a very powerful ability that can bring anyone back after 3 seconds, but 3 seconds were long gone. Naruto's gaze swept over the entire place, seen beyond the mist. When he saw Izumi on her knees, tears running from her eyes. Her eyes were now different. The Sharingan. There was a man standing there. The trees behind him were burnt. Izumi had tried to use an attack on him, but it failed. The man noticed Naruto, but he ignored Naruto like he was no one special. He started to be sucked into his own eye. Did I say you could leave? The man was caught off guard when something violent slammed right into him. He slammed through several dozen trees before slamming into a rock pavement. Naruto placed a hand on Izumi's shoulder before he blinked away. The masked man, half of his mask was now cracked, exposing his wrinkly face that seemed to have great damage done to it. The man looked up in utter shock as Naruto stood in front of him. Why did you do this? Naruto said, wanting answers. The man got up as he jumped away, despite the pain that he was feeling. I asked you a question. The man blinked and spun as Naruto was standing behind him. He was visibly shocked, unable to understand what was going on. I said, why did you do this? Why did you kill them? Instead of answering though, the man flashed through hand sign and released a stream of flames that came rushing towards Naruto. Naruto exhaled and the flames vanished, shocking the man. Naruto appeared in front of him. The man activated his intangibility, expecting Naruto's hand to pass through him. Naruto's eyes saw it. He reached forward and ruptured the space-time between them, his fingers breaking through it, and he gripped the man by the throat. His one eye that was exposed was so wide, it almost looked like it was going to pop out of its socket. I asked you a question. Why did you hurt them? My friend and my sensei. Now speak! Naruto said loudly, as his compelling words slammed into the man like a tidal wave, his whole body shaking as he tried not to open his mouth. But Naruto gripped him tightly, holding his throat, and he could not move. The realization hit Naruto. It was him. When he was awakened, he could sense all forms of chakra, even the one that this man possessed. As Naruto had released him, it was him. He was the one that pulled the 9 tails out of his mother. And now he was the one that the masked man used the opportunity to flee for his life, as he was now being pulled inside of a wormhole. As Naruto reached out, the masked man collapsed on one of the cubes inside of his own dimension. What the hell was that? He was utterly confused. He didn't quite understand. Suddenly, He was scared shitless. I asked you a question, but now I know. You're worse than I thought. The man turned as Naruto snapped his finger. A violent force allowed the man's body to explode. Naruto dropped a single blood drop on the ground. Ingal, he said, as a magical spell appeared below them. The man appeared out of nowhere, reborn. He blinked in shock. Did I? You died. I killed you. Like this. The man exploded once again. Blood and guts. Ingal, said Naruto, as the man reappeared once again. His eye widened in fright. You were the one that caused so many people so much pain. And now, you once again reappear in my life. I had promised myself, when I did find you, I will make you pay for what you did. And now is a better time than any. I'll crush you in this dimension. As Naruto held his hand out, however, something slammed right into him. He crashed through one of the cubes, his body obliterating it. He crashed through another and another before he stopped himself mid-air. Naruto was now floating. The masked man was on the ground, afraid. He was not the one behind that attack. Show yourself, Naruto said. A bright light of pure raw power appeared out of nowhere. What are you? Said Naruto. As he reached up and touched his lip, there was blood. We are everything and everyone. And you, we do not like you. You are not supposed to be here. Is that so? Said Naruto. And you find my presence troubling. We do not like you. You must surrender your power unto us. Otherwise, we will take it by force. Naruto tilted his head to the side. Why don't you try that? As his demon eyes of ruins awaken and see what happened. The whole dimension started to shake. The masked man was scared shitless to what was going on. The cubes were cracking. The dimension that they were in was fracturing. The thing looked over towards Naruto without eyes. You think that we can't hurt you for disobeying us? There is people that you care for. Naruto's eyes glistened. The strange force was blasted by intense heat that almost wiped it out of existence. It crashed through one of the cubes, its body solidifying into a physical form. It was on the ground, holding a gaping hole in its chest in pain. I don't know who the hell or what the hell you are, but if you dare to mention my family or think you can threaten them to get what you want, I will wipe you and whoever you're with out of existence. Naruto held his hand up as a blade. A curved, strange blade appeared out of darkness. He slashed the blade to the side, and the dimension broke, showing countless dimensions that were beyond this. He just slashed through time and space itself. The thing looked up. Its body was made of several components, but mostly inside, there were strange little dots that looked like stars, glistening inside of its core. You will pay for this. Until then, it placed a hand on the masked man. It was then gone. It left behind a gigantic, enormous amount of energy that started to glow. It then erupted in a violent blast. However, concealed, Naruto said as he held his hand out. He started to forcefully push the blast back together. There was a glowing orb around it, holding in the containment, until it was nothing but the size of a tiny little tennis ball. Naruto gripped it and he crushed it in his palm. He used his blade and slashed right through, tearing through the dimension before he stepped out. Whoever or whatever that thing was, they were able to hide the masked man from him and themselves as well. He was not sure what they were. However, if they came after him, he will annihilate them. Time skip. The masked man collapsed on his butt as he was in a strange place. On further inspection, he realized that it was hidden sand. What the hell? Given the miles between himself and the sand, how the hell was he here? He turned as he saw the strange thing that saved him collapse. It was coughing out a white liquid. Damn it. It raised his hand up and placed it on its chest. The hole slowly started to close up. It took a while. What are you? The masked man said. Our existence does not concern you. What you should know is that we saved your life, and you will pay us back. We will visit you soon. Make sure you stay away from that one. You can be useful. It held its hand out and pressed it on the masked man's chest. Your intangibility is below us. It will not work. The masked man blinked as he was not sure to making this thing touch him, but somehow its hand still rested on him like it was nothing. It then quickly went away, leaving him there. He was confused and concerned about everything that just happened. Greatly so, he was concerned. Time skip. Naruto stood in the pouring rain. As he just stood there, looking down towards the grave of Toji, to see his mom and father cry like that, and to think if he was there, it would have been in his power to bring him back. But not anymore. As Naruto rests a hand on the headstone, I will not allow your death to go to waste. I will find that masked man, and I shall make him pay for what he did. Naruto said as he looked down towards the gravestone. For the next few weeks, it was off. Yes, it was. Izumi. She was going through a lot. They became good friends with Toji and their sensei as well. And she was there to see them get mercilessly slaughtered. Naruto offered to erase the memory out of her head, but she told him no. She wanted to know what the world was like. Her father was right, this world was a truly dangerous place. At the moment, Naruto stood on the roof. It was late in the night. A lot was going on within the village. He heard the rumors, he heard the whispers. There were a lot of people starting to start aggressions with the Uchiha clan, and he did not like that. He couldn't afford for a civil war to break out. He knew both sides were going through a lot. However, there was one such person that was pushing the aggression. For the non-Uchiha populace, he's gonna have to find out who that person is. His father was going to be placed in a replacement on their team, and also a new sensei. However, he was giving them time to grieve. He couldn't just place them back out there already. Not to mention with Naruto informing him that it was the masked man. Minato was trying his best to find this man. However, it seems like Naruto had scared him deeper into hiding. Minato was not worried about his son's safety, as Naruto had shown that he could protect himself. Minato was not even sure if he could win against him if they fought, given the powers that Naruto had, not to mention the vast quickness he could learn anything that is displayed right in front of him. Naruto watched as his sister was growing, again and again. He also made sure that she would always be protected, along with his mother, his whole family. On her third birthday, Naruto gifted her with a cat. Kushina asked him where he got the cat from, and he told her he created it. She had learned not to question the things that her son says nowadays because the more he grew, the crazier things got with his abilities and the things that he could do. Mito loved the cat. She adored it. It was always by her side, either on her shoulder or on her back. It was just a kitty cat now, but it was growing as she grew. Of course, it was not a normal cat, not in the slightest, because it duplicated itself 3 times, and now one was always by his mother's side, and one was always in his father's office. And the family has gotten to love said cat. The 3 identical cats that stood by their side. As Naruto had told them that it was for precaution. He did not lie to them, and he told them what he had experienced. Kushina was worried. However, he told her that he was fine, and he would be fine. Whatever this was, he was going to crush it. As the time went on, Naruto was able to find out who was spreading the rumors and the lies. And being Naruto, being someone that was truly overconfident in everything that he did, of course he did not did recalls and missions or waited or anything. He found the source and he went right to it. At the moment, Danzo Shimura was down in his lair, if you would call it that. It was a pretty large underground facility. This was a program that was known as Root. His father had lessoned Danzo gathering on this program because Danzo was using kids. And he made sure that he would not go after any kids in Konoha. However, Minato had not completely disbanded the program because, despite the kind of man that Danzo was, this program was helpful to Konoha. They did things that normal Anvus did not do. So yes. However, Danzo had been going behind his father's back and doing a lot. Naruto had spent the last day watching, and he was tired of watching. Naruto stood above the entrance, as his whole body was simply gone, erased. He reappeared on the ground, as he was on a ledge as he started to walk. Naruto vanished. Danzo Shimura was busy looking over some files and discussing a few things with one of his agents in front of him. "Hello there. I think we should have a conversation." Danzo blinked as he slowly turned his gaze when he saw the child standing there. Immediately, all of his root ninjas leaped down. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see next portion, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. Remember, share this with all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs coming your way and the other channels as well. So without further ado or wasting more time, let's begin this. What am I saying? Let's get the hell out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.